It's an amazing event again.
Yeah. It's really one of the best. Just be able to you play a Hossen tournament, but also hang out with friends.
Take a
It's
swim.
very enjoyable. Yeah, take a swim, stretch your back. Everything that comes with it.
Crack a cold one with the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Oh!
we're straight into the game. I was gonna talk about the match and some matchups, but guess we don't have time for that. We have the first matchup coming up with Powder on his Quest Rogue versus Yagut on Miracle Rogue. A matchup that's usually pretty favored for the Quest Rogue, just because the Miracle Rogue isn't the fastest deck really. But if you're running Cold Bloods, you have some racing potential, but most of the time the Quest Rogue gets the quest off early, and you just lose before you really being to do
I think
anything
I
super
played
busted.
against Mr. Yagut in the round of 8, in the quarterfinal, and I think Mr. Yagut's list is he doesn't run giant, but he run double questing and he run firefly, so it's actually much better against aggro than normal miracle rogue, and he actually have a chance against quest rogue too because you see he just curve out and tempo you, and
Yeah,
especially he has this questing in hand.
it,
If he draw a prep like questing prep fan pitches.
yeah, it's like the way to win versus Quest Rogue that you race them with Cold Bloods and stuff and tempo them out. But wouldn't you still say that it favors the Quest Rogue?
I think
Yeah, sure.
for this list, Mr. Yagut's list, I think it might be like fif- even 50-50. Not that unfavored.
You think it's
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
I've been mostly running the Arcane Giant lists and just playing the
Arcane
Cold
Giant
Blood
is
list a little
way
bit,
too
but
slow. Yeah.
yeah, I can see you being right on that one.
But Mr. Yagut banned his rogue when he was playing against me, so I'm not actually sure about his
Yeah,
rogue
you
right
had a
now.
full aggro lineup. Powder and I prepared together, and we thought that a lot of people would bring a similar lineup to what U60 and Oskaka brought, like the aggro lineup. So we decided to go more on the controlling side. So we have the Quest Rogue, but against aggressive lineups we can just ban it. But then we also have Control Paladin, Taunt Warrior, and Freeze Mage to
Do, do
combat
we
aggro
do we
decks.
know what the self bans are actually?
Uh, we haven't uh, we haven't shown them yet. I know that Powder banned his own rogue, no, his own warrior, and Jagut seems to have banned his paladin, which is very surprising to me.
Yeah, because Mr. Yagu's paladin is his only aggro deck, so it actually make a lot of sense if he self ban his
we
paladin against powder because powder runs the full anti aggro.
Yeah, and he's playing
we
good
thought that he
Lexia.
would ban his own shaman, considering that he doesn't really have any good matchups across the board. I mean, the paladin can still win against mage, for example, and is a lot better against a warrior, which I guess powder self banning. But
Mhm.
we thought the paladin was better against powder's deck than the shaman.
Yeah, flame
Yeah,
elemental comes down,
and
so you can
Mr.
complete the quest.
Yogurt cannot stop killing the Ignis elemental. Is that how you say that? Oops. Well, now Powder is very happy that he can complete the quest now.
Yeah,
Monk ass.
I don't think we've seen patches come out yet, if I recall correctly.
No.
So this is gonna be a really
Yeah, it's just like over. I mean, like he even daggered last turn to be able to play like double 5 phase whatever wherever.
Yeah. So first game, kind of expected, goes to Powder's Rogue. We saw Jagut that didn't really draw like the aggressive start with the Cold
Uh,
Bloods.
I mean, it doesn't really matter how Mr. Yagut do because
Yeah.
Powder was on like over 20 health. What Powder did is just he drew a double Ignis Elemental and prepped.
Pretty good strategy for playing Quest Rogue, wouldn't you say?
Okay.
But yeah,
Easy win, easy life,
it was one
easy
of the
quest.
wins that we were also kind of expecting to get. Like we knew that the Quest Rogue would never really have a problem to get a win versus Jagut's lineup.
Oh yeah.
So a win is a win, but maybe not the most important win in the series.
Yeah.
Getting for example the
Shaman.
the mage through is probably gonna be a lot harder considering that Jagut has stuff like this Yay Druid in his lineup.
I think Mr. Yagut's straight rate doesn't run Yog. But he instead he runs Pyromancer. So I'm not sure how it is against the Shaman. Like he cut Yogg, but he added Pyromancer in, so it should be still good against decent against Shaman.
It's a very interesting decision to cut Yogg. It's one of the cards, at least I consider core
Yeah.
in the deck.
Yeah, it is.
It's just like very, very powerful.
I mean, what does he play instead?
Wild
Wild
Pyromancer.
Pyromancer, only once, right? And he's not playing the Ooze, but he's playing Harrison Jones as weapon
Yeah.
removal.
He has Harrison Jones in a lot of his decks, I think. Oh, Druid and Warrior, I think.
Yeah.
Warrior, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
not in a Paladin.
Yeah, let's get into the game. We've seen the early turns here play out. We have a control paladin versus Jade Druid, a matchup that's like these are one of the control matchups that Jade Druid just feeds on, and we even see Yagut here with
Oh.
maybe not the most amazing start, but it like how much you can do in the early game doesn't really matter in this matchup. It's decided in the late game when the auctioneer comes down and how many cards you can draw, and as long as you can keep up the gas with all of your cards as the Yay Druid, it's really hard for the Paladin to deal with all of that.
Yeah, top deck catch an auctioneer is very important to not run out of steam here
Yeah.
later on.
I even think it's like one of these matchups where you would even keep Nourish of the Mulligan, even without ramp, because it's really the only way you lose this is if you
Yeah,
run out of steam.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he still got the coin and he got the innovate and another one.
Moncast.
Okay.
Yeah.
This okay, but he just
Oh.
uses the one to play the Jade Behemoth now.
Yeah, because this JB Behemoth is most likely to stay alive next turn because Powder cannot. It is very hard for Powder to kill it on turn 5, even with 2 silver is 1 damage off. So, like next turn, if Mr. Yagut won't, he can just start cycle with his auctioneer because it's being protected by this Jade
Yeah.
Behemoth.
It also makes it so Powder cannot, unless he would have Alder Peacekeeper, he can't draw multiple cards with this Acolyte of Pain, which is super strong. And normally in this matchup, you'd like to keep onto your, hold onto your innervates and your coins because you just want to draw the cards with Auctioneer.
Yeah.
But since he has like an overload of mana ramp effects, he decides that he can use it to ramp out the Jade Behemoth, even though tempo isn't as important in this matchup as it might be in some others. Interesting to see what Powder would do. He did pick up that Dread Corsair from the Stonehill Defender.
I think
so
he wants
can
yeah.
protect his Acolyte of Pain from the Jade Behemoth if it wants.
But does he want to protect it? Because he has the getaway coda on his hand. And he can just choose over hit and next turn consecration or do some.
I kind of like this play. Powder realizes that the only way he wins this matchup is through tempo. This way he sets up for his Acolyte of Pain to get multiple cards drawn of it by having that and the 2/2 left on board, and also just like getting to play the 0 mana Dread Corsair again. While not the most it's not really a value play, but he needs to snowball the board before these Jades get out of hand.
Yeah, and they will, and I mean, like he got equality consecration for later on, but yeah, as you said, you want to out tempo because you can't outvalue.
Yeah, one of Powder just drew one of his more important cards in the matchup. Tyrion and Spikery Siege are really the two cards that give Druid a ton of trouble. And I think, maybe not Spikery Siege, but I was discussing the matchup with Powder, and we both agreed on that you easily keep Tyrion in the mulligan, for example. Powder realizes how powerful this Tyrion is and picks up the Redemption to potentially be able to go with that on a later turn.
Oh, second auctioneer. So you just play one now.
Yep. See what you get from all these ramp effects. You'll probably find like some spell you can play.
Coin first? Nope. Nope.
Yeah, good would have really wanted to see like the second J.
Whoa!
Or
Just
scales
in
of that
time.
one. But I think this is the second Jade Idol, so this has to go into the deck. Yeah. But it was still a great pickup there.
Yeah, especially because he got the second auctioneer.
Yes.
It's fine.
Second True Silver. This killed Auctioneer ASAP. It's going to be interesting here. Powder's going to go with a hero power, and then I'm going to be interested to see if he decides to go with the Redemption or not. I don't think it's totally unreasonable, because it's kind of hard for Yagut to make it land on the Silverhand recruit, unless he wants to draft a Silverhand recruit, which is clearly not a play you're happy to make.
If he Primordial Drake here, then the 2/2 revives, right? Because it's being played first.
Yeah. Comes back, and he still got another Drake for next turn potentially, or he can just like get Getchen, Raz, and Urson Scale next turn, so that's pretty fine here.
Tyrion comes down, and you can really see how the tempo plan from Powder has starts to actually work here, because Yagut has not really been able to use his auctioneers or his Jade cards very efficiently, considering that as you been from a fair amount of pressure between the Dread Corsairs and the True Silver champions, and now like Tyrion on a clear board is a lot better than it's all that Paladin can really ask for. This is the situation I want to be in.
No cheap spells to combo with Auctioneer next turn.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think you would want to go for Nourish next turn over Auctioneer, because ideally you use Auctioneer in a way like this is your second Auctioneer, so if you use this one you have no Auctioneers left, and ideally you want to use it like later on in the game when you have almost an empty deck to like fill your deck up with Jade Idols. But if you use a second Auctioneer early on, that plan goes out the window.
I really like that he played Urson Scales here,
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't really need to draw a card from it, and so he can protect his minion.
And also he can set up for Primordial Drake is Tyrion trading and
Consecration.
Huh. I'm very curious about this line from Powder. He already seen one swipe and one Primordial Drake, but your opponent has drawn a lot of cards and you make yourself pretty weak to second copy of either of those. What I would personally like to see is to just attack and Primordial Drake, and then you immediately get an attack in with Ashbringer as well, which
yeah.
actually plays around Harrison Jones as well, that he knows is in Yagut's deck by not giving him free cards if that would be in the hand. So I would say a slight misstep from Powder, but Primordial Drake is it's not as good as it is versus, say, Shaman, where it can just pick up a ton of value. Like, it doesn't really get much better than that.
Or Pirate Warrior. Start cycling here. So swipe comes down, protects the board.
Harrison.
The Drake protects the second Getchen Auctioneer. So perfectly fine here. And yeah, most likely he kinda has to play equality right now with the Primordial Drake. Skips the turn then.
I think this is what Powder expected. He really wants this equality to land on Auctioneer, and he also very happy that he finally can tempo this Primordial Drake now.
Talking about very happy, Harrison is quite happy here, right?
That's a happy Harrison for sure.
As happy as it can get.
And this is just brutal for Powder. He just used his equality, and it's gonna take some time before he can find the second one. And Jagut is just like gets straight back on the board with some really big minions. And Ashbringer also gone from the Harrison, so there's not really a lot Powder can do in this game now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Nourish. And I think this is GG soon.
I'm interested why, if I were Yagut, I'd probably, before both this Nourish and before this Ref, would play Jade Idol to draw into more of that kind of effect. I'm not sure if Jagut is digging for anything specifically here, but it feels weird to me that, like, myself, I would really want to fill my deck of 1-mana 7/7s and bigger.
Oh, I guess.
Sounds reasonable, yes.
Yeah.
Sounds reasonable,
This has
right?
enough. It's strong enough board already, I think.
Yep. Game 2 goes to Yagut, as expected. Very favorable matchup for the Druid, and not so important win for Yagut either. I keep saying this, but since Powder has the control lineup, he's gonna be naturally pretty weak to the Druid. So one of the decks that Yagut definitely is expected to get a win with.
Yeah, but still, not only in this format but also in LHS, it's also important to win your favorite matchups
Oh,
because things can go wrong and then you're in a bad spot suddenly.
yes, absolutely. So, yeah, just waiting for next game here. Tied up with Powder is sitting on Mage, Shaman, and Paladin left, whereas Jagut has Shaman,
Mm.
Rogue, and Warrior.
Oh yeah, here we can see it.
Makes it much easier for you guys at home.
Um, what do you want to pick? How is your pick order normally? Is it like the strongest deck? Is it the worst deck? Is it just randomized or?
Usually in Conquest, pick order doesn't really matter. So for myself, I kind of just go with like something comfortable. Like if I feel like a deck of mine has very good matchups across the field, kind of like playing that first and see if I can get a win early. Test my opponent out, see if he does anything interesting when it comes to queuing, or just like notice patterns in his play
Yeah.
style.
Mm.
And I can do that better with a deck I feel like pretty favored lineup wise. I know that Powder is also a huge fan of that. That's why he decided to queue the Rogue first, for example. But generally, not really the most relevant stuff in Conquest.
Yeah. Oh,
Shaman
the
versus
Oh,
hand
Mage.
is pretty bad right here.
Not only is his hand bad, but it's a pretty awful matchup for the
Wow.
Shaman because the Mage is packing so many problematic cards for Shaman, like the Doomsayer, Volcanic Potions, Blizzards, all the sweepers pretty much. And besides that, even if they were to brick on those kind of cards, like Bloodlust, that is your finisher. Like Ice Block stops those kind of combo finishes, so you can just die to a lot of burn.
Yeah, and you need to hurry to play Bloodlust because then you will just like, yeah, your board gets frozen all the time and you can't play it. And
what do
Yeah.
you think about the 2-3 instead of Doomsayer here?
Sorry.
What do you guys think about the 2-3 instead of Doomsayer here? Because he has Mana Worm to follow up. Ooh.
I don't know if Yagut seems to run to devolve, so
Yeah,
being reliant on Doomsayer later in the game is usually not the best plan. That can go very, very wrong.
I really don't like Doomsayer after turn 2, actually. Maybe turn 3, yeah, but.
No,
Mm,
I would have liked to see Doomsayer come down or Valet. Valet is, even though we haven't picked up a secret yet, we have so many ways to pick up a secret between
true.
Arcanologist and just naturally drawing one of our free secrets. And Valet is really a very, very powerful card against Shaman because it kills all the problematic totems. So, myself, I
Yeah.
think it's a bit greedy for Powder to hold onto the Doomsayer until later.
mm,
I mean, if I don't have Doomsayer, then I definitely will tempo Village.
Mhm.
I definitely will tempo there. Most of the time, you don't want to tempo your village, but like right now, if
Yeah,
you don't have Doomsayer, you definitely do that. But since you have Doomsayer there, so mm,
no, I agree with you.
mm,
Okay, so
yeah, next on IR, but what do you want to play this turn actually?
this is super awkward.
you
I
you definitely
wouldn't.
want to save the double Gaster for Evolve, right? So
Yeah.
you can either play Sing or play Patches here.
Yeah, but it's also what do you guys think about Think from Below? Because
Wow.
Mr. has certainly kept track of that Powder is still holding onto the coin, and if you get Think from Below out on any later turn,
Yeah.
it can get hit by Firelands Portal, which is a
That's
huge swing for
true.
Powder. So even though 5 mana Think from Below is usually not what you want to play, I kind of would like to see it there because it could force out a Fireball from Powder.
Yeah, but I'm not sure because like he can trade ping and then it's dead.
Yes, trade.
Then Powder will not develop anything on this turn because Yagut really want to play this Aya on turn 6. So if Powder doesn't develop any new minions, then I think Mr. Yagut will be very happy about that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure.
Some interesting decisions from Powder here. I don't love the Blizzard here.
I
Feels
don't
kind of
like
weak to
it.
me.
Definitely no.
We could go for Firelands Portal on
I really
Aya.
like it. I like it so much.
Yeah, it does set up for Mana Brim to die on board, but we can trade the 2-3 into the 2-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine then.
We can definitely just value trade here.
If you can play Violence Portal turn 6 into Violence Portal turn 7, you already
It's a very
I
good
mean,
spot
like,
to be. And you also get a 5-drop this way. It's pretty strong.
yeah. Although it's only 4/4, but never lucky, I guess.
4-4 is not that below average.
Portal only clears 2 minions.
Yeah, I
That's
think it's
fine.
average.
Could have been Earth Elemental.
Could have been. Kamla, not greedy at all. He just asked for the Stone Cold Perfect every time. Damn, I'm so unlucky. I didn't get Doom Guard.
You have to look at my devolves.
Stonehill Defender.
I like Stonehill. Another
Yeah.
Stonehill.
Yeah, just take a reroll. Try go through it again. See if this Stonehill Defender.
A
Yeah.
turtle coming out of a turtle.
You really want a big guy from the
Yeah.
Stonehill in this matchup. Like for example, Alakir. That's the best.
Yeah, Alakir is really good because you can push damage with it even if the mage freezes your board. Primordial Drake, great card in a lot of matchups, but maybe not really the best in this one. You'd be pretty underwhelmed if, like, you'd be pretty sad if when that's your 2 Stonehill defenders.
He's expecting the mage to do some value trade, so that next he can just play the Primordial Drake on turn 8, I guess.
Glyph picked up. Oh, that's one of the worst glyphs I think I've ever seen.
What about Shatter?
It's the pick, right?
Yeah,
it has to
Shatter
be the
kills
pick.
big taunts
You're
from the Stonehill.
almost never really happy to pick Shatter, but just like Freezing Potion and Vaporize are really weak, and you do have the Blizzard to go with the 0 mana Shatter, so...
Yeah, Vaporize is only good against Alakir. Beside Alakir, there's not
and
really
you
stuff
fix it.
that you can do.
Well, the value of Vaporize as well is that he has this Medivh Valet in hand and actually doesn't have a secret up at the moment.
That's true.
So, I personally would
Yeah.
probably have liked to see the Shatter, but there's also some caster vision. You know that...
There's no allocation.
yeah, you know that the Shaman doesn't run that many big minions. Like, if you're a Powder, you don't really expect a 4/8 to come out on this turn.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to Vaporize and Valete this turn? Valete's the one too.
If this is the play from Powder, this kinda telegraphs the Vaporize, but I really like what Powder did here as
Revolve.
well by pinging it, setting up for if he doesn't go face with the double with the Primordial Drake, he can set up for a Firelands Portal on it.
It's so good to evolve the Drake here. on top.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Oh, Ysera! Here we go! And Ned Pagel, also not too bad for the 2-drop here.
Double Doomsayer is not even good here.
Yeah.
Well, what's so good for Powder is that, well, this first Doomsayer is never gonna go off, but it actually has this second freeze and a second Doomsayer. So all hope is not lost, but Mryagut is gonna get some of those stream cards.
Yeah, Ned
Oh.
Pagel, the fisherman, gets the card.
I'm
here.
getting really bad PTSD from seeing that Pagel in play every time. I thought we were past this house though.
I mean, like, Double Gangster Evolve being a tier 1 deck is just like thinking.
It's one of the more fair combos, I'd say, but it can get really bad. Like, between the 6-drops varying from like Cairn to the 1/1 that summons a 6/6,
Yeah,
I
he only
mean,
gets
like-
double 4/4. That's
yeah.
unlucky.
really unlucky. I think that is Sierra and Illidan kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, in the end it's fine. But a tier 1 deck not only running Evolve twice, but also Devolve twice, I'm not the biggest fan of that.
Imagine he got Alakir from Stonehill.
Yeah. Yeah. So second Doomsayer comes down and
Only really second evolve that saves Mryagut here.
oh,
Can that get anything good? Whoa, Pagel working overtime here.
well,
I
we'll
actually have
see.
no idea.
It could be because if you get one charge minion, you have like
Oh
nightmare.
no.
Oh, not like
Never
this.
lucky.
Yeah, that Doomsphere is gonna go off, and
Evolve, you had one job to do.
any charge minion.
Any charge minion.
I'm gonna admit, I don't know the exact percentage chance of Yagu to get the charge minion there, but
Don't look at me.
I don't think it's that high. But of course, this game would probably just been over if he got a charge minion there, so I think it's a fine risk for Yagu to take.
Yeah.
And this is really smart from Powder. He knows that there's no a devolve in hand because it would have 100% been used. So Archmage is very likely to stick on this board, and that usually just spells game over for the Shaman, since it doesn't have any heal. If you take 2 rounds of 13 damage each from Fireball Ping, that's gonna add up to exactly lethal.
He wanted to get a patches or stone task board from the portal so that he can
Yeah,
buff the +5 and kill the Antonidas.
Powder takes it yet
Yeah.
again.
Powder takes the lead here.
It kind of nice to see these matchups just go back and forth. It's like there are close games, but they kind of play out the way they're quote unquote supposed to. Like Mage is supposed to win against Shaman, but there were still like some interesting decisions that could have decided a game in different ways. For example, that Isera was kind of scary.
You could say that, but double nightmare wasn't like the best.
Yeah, Nightmare is kind of underwhelming when your board gets frozen over and over again.
Yeah, especially if you, as you mentioned, don't get the Alakir. With Alakir, it's fine, I guess.
Oh, Akir double Nightmare.
So 26
Mr.
damage.
Yagut need to practice more.
Exactly. Yeah, good. Go home and practice those Stonehill defenders.
Oh, 1-drop and Flame Tongue when he go first.
Yeah, but Fiery Warwick's also in the place here.
Oh, Mr. Yagut hand is pretty good. He has weapon and sleep with the fishes. I think sleep with the fishes is very, very, very important in this matchup. And he also have a 3-minute taunt. Basically, he has everything he wants except a Ravaging Ghoul.
Yeah, as long as he picks up one of his like he has lots of sleep with the fishes activators in his deck, and the second he picks up one of them.
I like Pharaoh Axe this totem here because on turn 3 there you expect a flame taunt behind the taunt or a Manatite totem.
Yeah.
It's very important to kill that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh.
Does this do anything?
No,
I'm not sure
I'm
about this.
very confused about this play because not only do we have a good follow up to this, I guess he expects the Fiery War Eggs to be like a decent follow up, but it just makes her mana usage super awkward. For example, I would have loved to save that coin for either like for a Sleep with the Fish's turn or for the Curator.
Yeah.
And I honestly, it's just I can't see really what this Star Creeper adds on board because it doesn't even help you get through this Stonecloud totem. Just like you said, Eloise, if there were a Manatite totem here, this play would have been like really bad.
It's only good to bait out the Flame Tongue totem because Flame Tongue totem makes very good trade. It seems like very good trade, but
Ooh,
you don't even need to play Flame Tongue totem right now.
Yeah, I think
That's
he
not
kinda get punished here.
Yeah, that's not a pirate that Powder wanted to pick up. A Bloodsteel Corsair here would have been the absolute nuts because it would have killed the Fire War X, but sadly, it's the unfortunate patches.
As always.
Every time.
But Mr. Yagut is still on a very good spot if he draw any Whirlwind effect.
Yeah. And it still has... He actually doesn't have a way to deal with this Flame Tongue, but there are so many ways in Yagut's deck to actually deal with it. Powder's situation here pretty much comes from, does he want to run out Thing from below to protect Flame Tongue Totem, or does he feel like it's unlikely that it's gonna die and just want to run the Manatite Totem and try to snowball it with both his totems? Personally, I think I would like to see Manatite here, because that way you put up 2 totems that Yagut is kind of pressured to deal with. It's weak to Gravity Goon Sleep with the fishes, but this is not amazing either against that play.
I think it's fine
okay.
because next turn you play always Aya, right?
Yeah.
So you get like a card draw, and the turn afterwards you get a card draw. So you're not in the need yet. So I think like because your board is so weak, you have to go onto the board more.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
By playing this thing from below, he's baiting out a big removal from Mr. Yagut because this board is very scary. And after Mr. Yagut use like a brawl or something, he can just play Aya to follow up. So I think it's good.
Also, anytime you can protect your Deferral minion behind a taunt,
Yeah.
you're very happy against a deck like Warrior that's pretty reliant on their sweepers. Like Powder really just needs Bloodlust to close out this game, since Yagud hasn't picked up the tools to deal with the board.
Oh, not like
Uh,
this.
And we said this that from turn one, I think you mentioned it, Eloise, that as long as Yagud picks up like a whirlwind effect, he's in amazing shape.
Yeah.
But this is all what happens sometimes, that you just
Dun.
brick on like several turns over, and it's really what Powder needs. Like this is not a good matchup. He needs Yagud to get slightly unfortunate.
Oh man,
Oh.
you hate to see that if you're
Yeah.
the warrior.
If Powder play a slow game against Yagut, let's say if he didn't play Aya, he played Manatile Hero Power or something last turn to play around the big removal, then he's going to give Mr. Yagut time to draw Primordial Drake with Curator next turn.
This is actually a matchup that Powder personally loves to play. There are a few matchups in the game that Powder enjoys playing as much as being the Shaman against Taunt Warrior. Not because his Fink is favored, but Powder believes that him and like some other people has an approach to this matchup that is very different from others. Powder actually thinks, since most Warrior player mulligans the quest versus him, he thinks that he has a very good shot of actually outvaluing the Warrior. Uh,
I think it's more about how the warrior draw instead of how the shaman draw.
oh yeah,
Actually,
absolutely. Like if the Warrior has
yeah.
all of the sweepers, it's hard to win. But Powder has an interesting approach to this that is pretty unconvenient, like unconventional. Not a lot of people take that approach to the matchup where they try to value out the Warrior. But Powder strongly believes that that's the way to play this matchup.
Drawing patches.
Drawing
Well,
patches.
not the best value player.
Well, he can still draw a Ravaging Ghoul from this battle rage. I think I want to gamble on it because if you don't draw Ghoul or Whirlwind this turn, it's just
you're
over.
so afraid of Bloodlust
Oh,
there.
not like this.
Yeah.
So
Never
Bloodlust would
lucky.
be lethal. That's still a lot of damage. How much damage is this? We have
11 to the face.
7, 10, 13. I see 13, 14 damage here.
Ah yeah, 11 and patches actually.
Yeah. Puts him to 3. Even if then Jagut plays for Mortal Drake, which is the turn 8 play you expect, you still have lethal on board. So that's not a play. Jagut would need to draw Brawl or Fishes. Or is Ravaging Ghoul even? No, you don't survive even if you're Ravaging Ghoul because Aya's leaving.
And he's still giving him the
Card
out
back.
of drawing Jade Lightning, and yeah, there we go.
Wow. Jagut, all he needed was a whirlwind effect to
Yeah.
stabilize that game at any point
He
from turn
has
1.
he
That
has
Sleep with the Fishes one was
three
in his
whirlwind
opener.
and double brawl. That's very good draw for
Yeah.
him. And second fireworks, even second fireworks is very good. So like, that's 6 cards.
Yeah. So that's the first upset really matchup wise to see. Taunt Warrior is quite favored versus the Shaman, but as you also said, Eloise, that when the Warrior when it pieces doesn't fall into place.
So Powder only needs one more win with his Paladin, and here we go against his against Yagut's Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on this matchup. How do you think that Control Paladin matches up versus Miracle Rogue?
Well, Powder has a dirty red. If the dirty reds land on Auctioneer, then it's all good. Mr. Yagut doesn't run a giant in this deck. I think even though Paladin is like the best class against Arcane Giant, but it's still some kind of value or threat for Miracle Rogue. So if Mr. Yagut is not running Giant, so it's definitely not that favored against the Paladin. I think if Mr. Yagut want to win, he can just get early game tempo or play um play auctioneer that powder cannot remove it, or he can just get an early game what is the 4 mana flower? Sharazin,
Sharazin,
yeah,
Sharazin.
early game Sharazin and keep on reviving it. That's also a way to win the game.
Oh,
There
Ooh.
we go.
speaking of which, I was just gonna
Okay.
say Sharazin is really brutal in this matchup because Powder is gonna try to deal with every threat with like his equality consecrates and like yeah, and then eventually take over the game with Tyrion. But Sharazin really just stops that uh, because it's a
Yeah.
threat that well
If
it
Mr.
doesn't
Yag
die.
if Mr. Yagut didn't draw this charging here right now, there is very huge chance that the paladin can just outvalue a rogue here.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about using this two-one Murloc here because you still want something that you can combo with Wildspine Slayer.
Yeah.
Not right now, but
Turn 6, yeah.
later on, if you want to clear Speckerage Steed, you really expect something to combo with Wildspine Slayer.
Yeah, I'm actually super surprised because that
Yeah.
coin and the Grimskill Sham had so much value
Yeah,
between the
exactly.
Wildspine Slayers and the Sharazin, and this way Yagut frankly just leaves himself with nothing to ever bring back the Sharazin to. It's gonna be hard to combo these Wildspine Slayers when he had like a very good hand to do so.
Mm.
Well, Curator is a card that Powder naturally plays, which also is going to be great in the matchup. It picks up Stampeding Kodo, Primordial Drake, and the second Hydrologist.
And he plays Stampeding Kodo twice, right?
Yeah, he played two.
Mhm.
That's one of the upsides you get from. I'm myself a very strong advocate for Ensoft Paladin, but Powder decided he wanted to go with the Control Paladin because it allowed him to play double Dirty Rat, which he thinks is very strong in the format. And frankly, the more I see this deck play out, the more I believe that maybe going for Dirty Rats and not playing Ensoft might have been the correct choice for this tournament. But like not playing Ensoft also allows you to play double Stampede and Kodo, which makes your Spike Ridge Seeds more consistent as well because
Yeah.
like a larger percent of the time you have something to Spike Ridge Seed on 6.
Actually,
Yeah.
I really think that Dirty Rat should be a beast.
Which
Hey.
is
It's a rat. Why it's not a beast? That's racist, right?
that's racist.
Maybe because it, I don't know, can talk.
Mr. Yagut really wants some tempo here. I'm not sure about this because Powder runs double Speckerage Seed, right? And he also has Tyrion, Ragnaros, and Mr. Yagut doesn't run Sap. He has only this two Wildspin Slayer, and he doesn't have Arcane Giant, so he cannot even tempo. Use tempo to kill the Rag or Tyrion.
Oh.
So I really expect him to save this double Wellspin Slayer, even though he gave up some tempo early game.
I think this is kind of like a desperate attempt. He plays to his hand. He knows that I haven't picked up Auctioneer, don't have any sheep spells. I'm not gonna be able to win the game that way. I need to finish it off as early as possible.
Yeah, Dirty Red comes down and Edwin von Cleave gets pulled out, so yeah, what you gonna do now?
This is really brutal because next turn we can go for the Curator to refill our hand after this sweeper. I think that Powder was aiming to get an Auctioneer there because we're going into the turn where Auctioneer starts to become really good.
Yeah.
Edwin is not a bad pull, but with a hand that this low on cards, Edwin doesn't do a whole lot. So Powder is deciding if he needs to actually use Equality Consecrate to deal with this, and instead he just decides that well, your board isn't even worthy of that, and just gonna Spike Ridge Seed instead.
Feels
Yeah,
bad.
that's how you. That's how you win the game after you see the two Spellspin Slayer being played. Rogue has no way to answer this big
Yeah.
dirty red.
Templar doesn't really help here as well.
No, you probably just have to run it out as Jagut and just hope, just pray that there's no sweeper. But even if there isn't, it's not like it's in an amazing spot or anything. Still looks kind of bad for him,
Yeah.
sadly.
I mean, what could you draw?
He just Sudoku his whole family.
uh, Miracle Rogue is a very sad deck when it has to play with an empty hand.
Yeah.
There's like all of your cards are reliant on working together with others. Like Auctioneer is reliant on cheap spells. You have the questings. You have the Edwin that wants you to have large amounts of cards in your hand. But yeah, that's not the case this game. I really like how passive Powder is playing this. He's really holding on to his equality consecrate because he knows that like it's such a safety button to have to like at any point be able to reset the board, even though he knows that this game is probably over anyway. Just like saving those resources in your
I think
hand.
he just want to save at least one way to deal with Auctioneer, because right now he already seen everything from Mr. Yagut. The only comeback is Auctioneer. So
Yeah. Auctioneer Mimic Pod would be like great, right?
as long as he have a removal for Auctioneer, I don't think he can lose this game.
So Auctioneer into Mimic prep Mimic Pod into double eviscerate is still not enough, and then just forbidden healings. And yeah, Yagut knows this game's over, but I mean, he's in the semifinals of a big tournament. Like, maybe a miracle, pun intended, could happen.
Yeah, and he was in the semifinals at Sitsuri Cup as well, right?
Yeah, Yagut has been doing. He actually knocked me out of the Story Cup, so
Wow.
he's been doing consistently very well lately. Really, I think a person that's under people's radar, but he's a very impressive player, Yagut.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to his rogue play.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like this.
Yeah, well played.
And Powder's gonna take it 4-1.
So Powder advancing to the finals, and he has to play El Magico in the finals, the Italian qualifier.
Get ready for 1 hour Taunt Warrior Mirror. And another hour Control Paladin.